Hello, everyone. We're back with some of the most ridiculous stories from Reddit. Subscribe for more stories and remember, stay dumb.
Had a guy I was working construction with say, "I hope the sun comes up on that side today," pointing west because yesterday it came up on this side, and it was so hot, with us being on the east side of the building. Ya bud, that's not how the sun works. Lol. Is right. Now and then, the sun can change. It becomes dull after a while.
From a guy I was working with. Hitler could have saved himself a lot of trouble if he just would have put all those Jews on the Titanic. I felt like I was having a stroke. Could have made the Holocaust a huge cruise. My old roommate pointed an laser thermometer at a pencil on a table inside our house. The laser thermometer read 68 degrees Fahrenheit. He exclaimed, "This thing is broken." I asked why he thought it was broken. "This is a pencil. It doesn't produce any heat. This thermometer should say 0 degrees Fahrenheit." I stared at him for a few seconds, unable to collect my jaw off the floor. Well, 0 degrees Fahrenheit would mean it is frozen, or well beyond frozen, so I think 68 is the temperature of the air in the room. This man was 26. His 2 adult brothers were sitting in this room. I was the only one who understood why the thermometer was correct. It wasn't just the pencil that was at room temperature.
I live in New Mexico currently. One time my mum was on the phone with some lady and they argued with her about whether or not New Mexico is in the US. Then she proceeded to argue with my mum about how to spell Albuquerque. Like, okay, my mum lived in Albuquerque during that time. She should know more than anyone. You only have to watch Breaking Bad to know these things.
When I was in the States, over 20 years ago, someone asked me, "Where are you from?" "Your accent is really nice." I told them I'm from England. They replied, "Oh, I've heard of England. Is that in London?" During the same trip, another person asked me the same question, so I gave the same answer. England. They refused to acknowledge that England was a country, and they insisted that English was a language created by the USA. This same person then informed me that I lived in the UK, which was a region of the country Europe. In both instances, I just smiled and walked away. I sometimes think that culture is illegal in the US.
From a family member years ago. My husband and I are having problems, so we're trying for another baby. That should make things better. I smiled inanely and walked away, stunned. Maybe their problem is that they have too much sex.
What? Maryland doesn't have any hospitals. My old friend, hands down the stupidest man I've ever met. Heart of gold, though, once called me while he was in Maryland, we're from Ohio, and asked me to call 911 for him because he was having a panic attack and was genuinely worried that he was going to have a heart attack. I proceeded to explain that instead of calling me, he should call 911 himself or go to the hospital. He then started arguing with me that Maryland doesn't have hospitals. He legit thought hospitals only existed in Ohio. It took like 5 minutes to get him to understand that hospitals are literally everywhere. Still absolutely dumbfounded by that conversation 5 years later. No, he's right. I can confirm Maryland has no hospitals, you just die.
Elementary school, we were learning about local Native American cultures and legends. One legend had all the men go off to war except one boy or something, and it was left to him to continue the tribe's existence, or something like that. Got in a debate with a girl who loudly asked why didn't he just go and die too. The women can keep the tribe alive. Me, being worldly and having had the talk already, tried to explain that there would be no more tribe without at least one guy present. She yelled back, "That's not true. We know how to fish." I had to be told to sit outside because I couldn't stop laughing. She is right. If you teach a woman to fish, she will start to multiply by mitosis.
I was with my friend chillin' during winter. His cousin comes to his house and says, "Dude, my car got stuck in the snow." We grab the only shovel at his house and start walking to his car. Dude slid through an intersection and blasted a stop sign. We try to clear some snow from around it and push as he's gassing it. Nothing. My friend's cousin gets out, grabs the shovel, and for whatever reason, thought smashing under the car with the shovel was the answer. He broke the absolute shit out of it. My friend's like, bro, that's my mom's, you need to replace it. His cousin looks him straight in the eyes and says, you act like I broke the shovel. Maybe it was the wind.
I'm American of Mexican descent. Someone asked me where I'm from. I said, California. He then asked where my parents were from. I said, Michigan and Texas. Looking at me rather upset, he said, no, where are your people from? I said, dude, I can trace my family back to within the United States to 1817. Where the hell are you from? He just walked away after that. Next time, you'd better go around with a family tree.
Confession, it was me. When I was 18, my brother introduced me to his girlfriend who was from New Zealand. Or I told her that her English was very good. At least he confessed his sins. At one of my first jobs as a graphic designer, a client called me into his office and pulled up a photo he took. He then asked me if I could turn it around. No, not rotate it, but turn the viewpoint around. He wanted to see what was behind the camera when he originally took the photo. At one of my first jobs as a graphic designer, a client called me into his office and pulled up a photo he took. He then asked me if I could turn it around. No, not rotate it, but turn the viewpoint around. He wanted to see what was behind the camera when he originally took the photo. The next step as a designer is to learn how to bend reality. At age 27, my friend said that he had gotten into a fight with his girlfriend because he knew that his parents didn't have to have sex to conceive him. His mom got pregnant with him because they got married. The thing I'm most concerned about is that someone like this has a girlfriend. In grade 6, my class read a poem about ptarmigans where every word starting with T was changed to PT. The teacher said that ptarmigans were a made-up animal. I countered that they were a type of Arctic bird, so he sent me to the school library to find evidence. I came back with an encyclopedia turned to the entry for ptarmigan, and he read it out to the class and told everyone that teachers don't know everything and they should never be afraid to speak up. We would need more teachers like this. How do we know it wasn't just ostriches on the radar that triggered Pearl Harbor? My dude, what? Oh, shira ada ada. Lanich severity fediver. Cakes dinis. Oh, water leskio. We would need more teachers like this. I work in construction, and my nigger told me he doesn't believe in gravity with 100% seriousness. Mind you, his job is to rig tens of thousands of pounds of steel so it doesn't fall when moving it with a crane. Newton is turning in his grave. I was going 30 and a 30. Police officer pulled me over and claimed I was going 50. The dash cam footage of the police officer showed that the officer was going 40 to close the distance and pull me over. Some genius on Facebook said, if you were going 30, then why did the officer have to go 40 to catch up? I'm like, if by some bizarre circumstance that you're actually being serious here, you have to go faster than whatever it is you're following in order to catch up. The bro doesn't know how speed works. That the government intentionally blew up the Space Shuttle Challenger. This guy spent like an hour trying to explain what the government would gain from that when I asked him. It made no sense. First, he tried to say that they did it for the 100 million people donated to the families. Like, dude, it costs way more than that to build and launch a space shuttle. I can appreciate a good, well-thought-out conspiracy theory, but the first thing I need to know is what they gain from it. If you can't answer that, your conspiracy theory is dumb. Some people don't deserve to vote.
I'm Scottish, and I had an American tell me how Scotland was oppressed by England, and it was like Israel and Palestine. At first, I thought it was a wind-up, and he was pulling my leg. Turns out he was being deadly serious. I was like, mate, I own a property in England. My partner is English. No matter what I said to him, he wouldn't believe me that we weren't constantly living under the oppression of England.
As an exchange student from Germany, high school, small town New York, I've been asked if we have cars in Germany. In that same conversation, they also questioned if we had fridges in Germany and if Hitler was still alive.
Have a nice day and see you next time. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. Stay dumb.